Lekan had given up on love after a string of heartbreaks that echoed through the bustling streets of Lagos, leaving him certain he was destined to be alone until a chance meeting on the day he dreaded most, Valentine's Day, at a humble suya stand, sparked a connection that made him wonder if maybe, just maybe, love hadn't passed him by after all. Lekan had always been unlucky in love. Growing up in the bustling city of Lagos, he had witnessed heartbreaks that left him questioning if love was ever meant for him. It wasn't as though he lacked the qualities of a good partner. He was kind, hardworking, and genuinely romantic, but somehow, love always slipped through his fingers like sand. His first heartbreak came during his university days when he fell head over heels for Tolu. She was the kind of woman who made heads turn, beautiful, ambitious, and charming. They had spent 3 years together, and Lekan had envisioned a future with her. But one evening, just as they were about to start discussing plans for life after school, she sat him down and broke the news. "I don't think we want the same things," she said, avoiding his gaze. He had been blindsided. He had thought they wanted everything together, a home, a family, a life intertwined. But Tolu had dreams bigger than he could comprehend. She wanted wealth and power, things Lekan was still striving towards. A few months later, he saw her in the arms of an older businessman, driving off in a sleek Mercedes-Benz. That night, Lekan had learned a painful lesson: love was never enough. But he didn't give up. Years later, he met Chidinma, a woman whose laughter could light up an entire room. She was everything he had hoped for in a partner: caring, patient, and his biggest cheerleader. For the first time since Tolu, he allowed himself to love fully again. He proposed to her after 2 years of dating, convinced that she was the one. She said yes, and for a while, it seemed like life had finally granted him happiness. Then, 2 weeks before their introduction ceremony, she vanished. Calls went unanswered, texts remained unread, and all his attempts to reach her family were met with silence. It wasn't until a mutual friend told him the truth: Chidinma had rekindled a relationship with an ex and had traveled to Canada with him, that Lekan realized he had been living in an illusion. The pain of betrayal burned deeply, and for the first time in his life, he swore off love. His mother, a strong-willed woman who believed no man was complete without a wife, never let him rest. "Lekan, time is running out," she would say. "All your mates are getting married. Must I die before seeing my grandchildren?" But Lekan had lost the energy to chase love. He had tried. He had given his all. Yet, time and again, he was left with nothing but an empty heart and memories that haunted him. He buried himself in work, climbing the ranks in his architecture firm and convincing himself that a successful career could fill the void. But no matter how much he achieved professionally, there was still a lingering emptiness. But fate had other plans. It was February 14th, a day Lekan had grown to detest. The streets of Lagos were bursting with romance, couples exchanging gifts, roadside vendors selling heart-shaped balloons, and lovebirds feeding each other ice cream at local spots. But for Lekan, it was just another day to endure. He found himself at a small, quiet suya joint in Suralia, where the smoky aroma of grilled meat mixed with the sounds of laughter from diners around him. He sat alone, chewing his suya without enthusiasm, his mind clouded with thoughts of the past. His phone lay face up on the table, silent as ever. No missed calls. No messages. No one checking in. It was a loneliness he had grown accustomed to, but tonight, it felt heavier than usual. Just as he was about to leave, a soft voice interrupted his thoughts. "Excuse me, can I sit here? The place is crowded." Lekan looked up and met the gaze of a woman who radiated warmth despite her weary eyes. She was dressed in a simple Ankara dress, her dark skin glowing under the dim light. There was no extravagant makeup, no forced smile, just a genuine presence that felt oddly comforting. "Oh, sure," he said, shifting to make space. She exhaled in relief, placing her tray down. "Thanks. I'm Ada." "I'm Lekan," he replied, watching her settle in. What started as polite small talk turned into an engaging conversation. Ada was a nurse, and like him, she had grown disillusioned with love. Her demanding job left her with little time to nurture relationships, and after several failed attempts, she had stopped looking altogether. She had planned to spend the night at home but decided, last minute, to step out for some suya. Lekan found himself captivated by her honesty. She wasn't trying to impress him with grand stories or exaggerated gestures. She was real. They laughed about Lagos traffic, debated over the best jollof rice recipes, and even playfully argued about football teams. For the first time in years, Lekan felt seen, truly seen. Hours slipped by unnoticed as they talked late into the night. The street lights flickered, and the crowd at the suya spot began to thin, but neither of them wanted the night to end. There was something magical about how effortlessly they connected, as if they had known each other in another life. As Ada finished her last bite, she looked at him and said, "You know, I never imagined meeting someone like this. Maybe love doesn't come when we chase it. Maybe it finds us when we least expect it." Lekan's heart pounded. Could it be? Had love finally found him? That night, as he walked Ada to her car, Lekan hesitated before asking, "Can I see you again?" Her smile was all the answer he needed. What followed was a journey of rediscovery. They spent countless evenings sharing stories about their past, their fears, and their dreams. Lekan found himself enjoying the little things, Ada's excitement when she talked about her patients, the way she laughed at his dry jokes, and how she never hesitated to call him out when he was wrong. They explored Lagos together, finding joy in places Lekan had long ignored, the laughter-filled streets of Balogun Market, the peaceful sunset at Takwe Bay, and the chaotic yet thrilling Danfo rides. He introduced Ada to his mother, who, for the first time in years, gave him her blessing with a smile. There were challenges, of course. Ada's long shifts at the hospital sometimes made scheduling dates difficult, and Lekan's demanding career meant that time together was often scarce. But unlike his past relationships, they faced their struggles together. They communicated, compromised, and most importantly, trusted each other. Lekan learned to love again, not just with hope, but with certainty. And this time, he wasn't afraid. A year later, on Valentine's Day, Lekan and Ada found themselves back at the same suya spot, their hands intertwined. This time, he wasn't alone. This time, he had someone who saw him, someone who stayed. Love had found him just when he had stopped searching.